welcome to SETZER'S World of Camping. My name is Cody. Today we're going to be reviewing the 1860 SS by Springdale Keystone. Starting off with the front of the unit, going to have these two switches here. What they're going to do is going to be for raising and lowering. One's also going to be for a light. You can't see it in the sun, but what that's going to do is allow you to see what you're doing at night when you go to hook up. Behind that, it's going to be a level, so you can see if everything's level. It's going to be a water gauge right there. Now right behind that, it's going to be a single 4.5 gallon propane tank. Now this is going to be pressure regulated by this right here. That's what this is. It's going to regulate everything throughout the camper unit. Now up underneath of that, you're going to have your 12 volt deep cycle marine battery. This is going to power everything in the unit. So what also is going to be on this is going to be a battery disconnect switch. So what that battery disconnect switch is going to do, if you have that on, it's going to have the battery disconnected from power to the unit. But you want to keep that on because what it's going to do, unless you are winterizing your unit or you're done for the season, you want to keep that on so that way everything is trickle charging. So if you're connected to shore power, it will trickle charge from that to keep your battery charged, as well if you're hooked up to the truck, that'll keep the battery trickle charged that way as too. Also, it will keep everything on inside of the camper while you're underway. That way you can keep everything nice and cool. Now coming along the side here, you're gonna have your first compartment right here. You just open it up like this with these latches. Now right here is going to be your solar power hookup and controls. On the other side is going to be the manual jack for in case you lose power, so you can crank and lower that way. I'm going to go grab this RV starter kit over here. We'll go over that with you. So there's going to be a couple things inside this RV starter kit. Some of the things, it's going to be this water pressure regulator. We're going to go ahead and start off with that. What this pressure regulator is going to do is you're going to attach it anytime you're going to put water into the unit. So what that's going to do is it's going to take the water pressure from the hose. It's going to make sure that it's an even 40 to 50 psi, so that way you don't blow out any of your lines or anything like that. Inside of this RV starter kit as well, it's going to be several things you need for whenever you first get going on everything. One of the things in here is going to be the stinky slinky, I like to call it. It's going to be your waste disposal tube. It's going to be this right here. So what this is going to do is you'll attach to the waste disposal on the camper. This will be through the disposal site. Also in here, it's going to be a bio pouch. So what this bio pouch is going to do is you're going to put a couple ounces of this powder into your toilet along with about 3 gallons of water. What that's going to do is it's going to mix in your toilet or in your black water system. What that's going to do is you fill up the tank with waste material. It's going to start to break that down, and it's going to keep everything smelling clean, keep the smell down, and also keep the waste from coagulating. Also in there, this here is going to be the 2-ply toilet paper. So we recommend that you always use this 2-ply toilet paper. So what that's going to do is it's going to break down a lot easier than normal store-bought toilet paper. What that's going to do is allow it to break down, not connect and gunk up onto those sensors. So I'll go over that in the black tank flush as well. So 2-ply toilet paper. Also in here, this is the water hose that we recommend. It's going to be any drinking water hose. Like I said, you want to make sure you put that water pressure regulator on there before you hook it up to the camp for the city water connection or for the freshwater fill. Also, it's going to have this right here. This is going to be an adapter for your 30 amp power supply, so that you're going to be able to adapt it to go into your household extension outlet. Now moving on here, right behind this front compartment is going to be some of your control or your hot water tank, as well as your freshwater and city water connections. This is going to be a gas or electric hot water tank. For power for electric, you'll turn it on like this with that button there. Now if you have the propane on and you turn it on via the control panel inside, you'll feel this start to actuate. You'll hear it go click, 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 like a normal propane. Once it kicks on, hot air will be coming out of this, so be careful. Also, right here is going to be the vent overflow or vent relief. So if you go to winterize your camper or anything like that, you want to bleed off pressure right here. That's help drain out any of the water in there. We'd be very careful because it will be hot water coming out of there if you've had it on. Now right next to that is going to be your freshwater connections and your city water connections respectively. The fresh water is going to be an empty hole. You'll just put that pressure regulator down inside of this hole connected to the garden hose. Now whenever you do that, you do want to make sure that you keep an eye on the control panel inside, because you want to make sure that you're monitoring those levels so you don't overfill your tanks at all. Now right next to that is the city water connection. The difference between those two What that's going to be is city water connection is going to bypass your freshwater tank, which is this freshwater connection, and allow you to use fresh water from the camp without drawing from anything in your tanks. So this one fills your tanks. This one bypasses the tanks, allows you to use fresh water from the campsite. Now continuing along, actually down right here is where they are. So everything's nice and located in this one spot. This here is going to be your freshwater drains, or actually your freshwater tank drain. And then right up underneath it here, a little farther back, is going to be the hot and cold water drains, low point drains. So the difference between these two, this is going to drain your freshwater tank. When you go to winterize, the back two are going to be for low point drains for anything that has water in the lines. So when you go to winterize, you'll open those and it'll empty everything that's inside the lines. Coming along here, you have your super slide. Sticks out just a little bit here. On this one, it's going to be a single unit or a single axle unit. So you just want to make sure that every year you check your PSI and your foot torque for each of the lug nuts. On this one, I believe it's 65 PSI for the tires, but you want to check the inner tire wall just to be sure. Also, anytime you do a hard braking, they recommend that you retighten your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds of torque per lug nut. I recommend generally every trip just to give everything a double check just to be safe. Right here is going to be where your gray and black tanks are. So the gray tank with the gray handle, black tank with the black handle. Whenever you do your black tank and your gray tanks, we always recommend that you fill up the tanks completely full. So even if you only have a half tank full and you're in the campsite and you're about to dump, make sure that you fill up both tanks all the way, because what that's going to do is it's going to allow for any material or anything like that to be sorted around and get everything out of the unit. Also, whenever you do go to dump, make sure you put that stinky slinky on here, and then use your black tank first and then flush your gray tanks, as what that's going to do is it's going to allow any build up here or any stinky parts to be washed away right there. Now on the front and back of this unit too, right here, you'll see these are going to be your stabilizer jacks. All these are going to do when you go to pull into the campground, you'll put those down to help stabilize the sway back and forth of the camper. And above that is going to be your 30 amp power supply. So it's pulled out right now, but whenever you go to restore, you just simply push it back in and store it that way. Also, down below right next to that stabilizer is going to be, you can pop these caps off like so. I won't take it off now, but you can take those off and you can put that stinky slinky in there, keep it out of the way, and also keep it kind of sterile, everything. Going to have a spare tire here on the back of the unit. Also above so is going to be a Furrion backup camera. It's going to be sold separately, but you can and do have access for that. Come along here, you're going to have that other stabilizer jack as well as the awning arm. This here is going to be your furnace vent. So whenever you go to turn on the hot air for this unit, you'll hear it actuate just like the water heater on the other side. Click, click, click. When you hear it whoosh, it's when you'll know that it's on. It's going to be very hot, so be careful there. Continuing on here, you're going to have your GFCI outlet for outside. The reset's going to be inside here. Also up forward, you're going to have your forward compartment, which extends to the other side of the unit here, as well as the jack for in case you need manual or for your stabilizers. And now that we're finished with the exterior, we're going to take you up to the roof and then we'll get you inside. So now that we made it up to the roof, at least twice a year, you want to come up here and check all your seams and seals. So you'll go through and check these seals up through here for any cracks, bubbling, anything like that. Anything in the tears in the awning, anything like that, as well as the slide out seals along the side. You want to check around all your vents, AC unit, as well as around your solar panel, around any PVC piping. You also want to check your vent and along the back seal here. And you also want to come over here, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check this seam right here on your slide out seal on the D seal. You just want to give that a check as well. So starting off, when you first come in, it's going to be your main control panel here, interior light, awning light, as well as your water pump. If you can't find or locate your water pump, I always just kick it on and you'll hear it kick on. You can go and find it that way as well. Slide in is going to be your slide out controls as well as your awning controls. For your awning, whenever you're putting it out, just make sure you keep your arms and your brackets clear. And as you fully extend it, keep an eye on that roller bar. As that flap starts to come down, make sure you retract it back in just a little bit. Right here, it's going to be your thermostat controls. So, cooler, warmer as well. And show you your temperature degrees here as well. Coming in, got your nice big sized bed here. Storage up underneath. Up above, gonna have your lighting as well as your smoke detector. Gonna have your GFCI outlet over there. It's gonna be your reset as well. Right here is gonna be your sofa and everything. It's got a jackknife out, like so, in case you need extra storage or extra sleeping space. Or storage behind as well, in the lower shelves behind you. It's gonna have recessed lighting here too, little puck lights. So if those aren't controlled by the main light, you can turn those on individually. Gonna have a nice high top right here in the slide down part, as well as another puck light right there. This here, you can also take this table off, these legs out. You'll slide this table in to sit on these right here, and you can have an additional bedding right here for any kids. Behind here, it's gonna have your storage and everything. Nice and spacious, as well as a mounting bracket back there. It's going to be VESA mounting, so any normal mounting bracket or any TV mount will work with that, as well as your satellite auxiliary controls up there. In here, it's going to be your bathroom, your vent hood and the fan, as well as your water heater controls for how hot you want your water heater water to be. Right here is going to be your fridge, full-size fridge. Nice and spacious, as well as your furnace vent down there. Right here's going to be your LP detector, so it's down low for gas and everything. Here's going to be your propane stove range. Make sure your propane's on if you're not getting any gas to this. Got your light and your fan here, as well as a microwave. Storage next to it, the sink. Storage up underneath. And that's going to be the 1860 SS. Thank you for shopping here at SETZER'S.